Hello, I'm Judge Desire for Knowledge. Welcome to my channel here on YouTube and being broadcast on IAAH Radio every Saturday at 3. You can get me on YouTube and also on IAAH Radio. IAAH Radio, let me re-say that, with the best DJs and the best music in town. They have me on their channel. Thank you again, IAAH Radio, for using me for radio. So if you can't watch me, come and hear me on the IAAHradio.com channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. I have put up a lot of videos, and I'm sure one or few may, get to you that you'll realize, wow, this is not bad at all, or you'll have your own opinions of it on Know Your Truth, Real Talk. That's the show that comes on broadcasted every Saturday at 3 on radio, IAAH Radio, and on YouTube, just in case you didn't know. And monthly, I have my Legal Matters, which is also on YouTube monthly, and on IAAH Radio monthly as well. Legal matters pertaining to people that need to hear certain things that's going on, and how you can actually accomplish putting petitions and complaints through the court system easily, layman terms. So go check that out. I have a few videos up already that can help assist some people. Again, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a judge. I work in the system, and I can help give you consultations, not advice. So go check that out. I also have my short grills on social media, YouTube Shorts. I'm out and about travels when I'm out and about, which I will be. So I have an event coming up, so I wasn't able to do live today. So I hope you enjoy this session of Know Your Truth, Real Talk, where I bring my truth and you bring yours. This is an open forum for anyone to come when I'm live, or even afterwards. You can always put a comment in the box below on my YouTube channel. All right, so since we are live on radio and YouTube some Saturdays, that's when you can join me and check out, debate with me, or bring in your suggestions of what you feel of the topic I'm talking about that day, or what your truth is, because it's our truth together that combines and brings the power of knowledge, okay? That's why my name is Judge Desire for Knowledge, all right? All right, so this subject today on Know Your Truth, Real Talk is Family Affairs Part 2. I have a Family Affairs 1. It's about privilege, not privilege, I believe where family believes that they have the rights to your, I'll link it here after the show, you'll find the link. It's about family that thinks that they have rights to you in certain ways, not privileges. There's a certain word, but I can't remember it right now because I have over 250 videos. But with that being said, this one is Family Two's Affairs, what family didn't teach us, but life has. And what's important here is that we need to set the record straight. That our parents' generation was and is not functional or conducive with our generation, which we already know, right? I mean, some of us, if we didn't get it, you didn't. Those that do, it worked for their time and not ours. All right. And that is the truth. Just think about it. When our parents was growing up, their belief systems were very different from ours. All right. So for instance, I'm going to start with one of the things that we are told from old generations are women are only meant to be homemakers of their household. Okay. Homemakers of the household. Wow. Now just look at back then and look at today, and you'll see why I'm making this video, because sometimes things do change, more or less. Change is good. But some people won't change, and it doesn't work for you when you don't. This is a part of that. I'm trying to show you about how change is needed. If not, then sometimes things just won't work when you don't choose to change what has been taught to you, or things that you don't want upgraded. For instance, in the offices that I used to work years ago, people said they would rather, because they're old school, paper instead of computers, things like that. Change evolving is great, is what I wanted to say. So I'll move forward with that as an example. What worked then doesn't work today. All right. So when our parents were growing up, their belief systems was very different from ours. So for instance, I brought up women are only meant to be homemakers of their household. They taught women should be kept at home to do their household chores. They were taught women should be barefoot and pregnant. Am I right or wrong? All right. And another thing that they were taught, our parents' generations before us and their generation, the number of children you have determines a good family. All right. One, they were taught the more children you have, the more honor a man brings to his household. Hmm. I wonder, is that how you get your honor? Today, that doesn't work, right? Two, they were taught the more children a woman has determines the fertility and respect to one's family. Hmm. Okay. And we know about that if you remember, because your parents always talked about this. Another thing is female children should only be the ones who are taught to sew, cook, and clean, etc. You know, the household chores. That was given off to the girl children, the females of the household, more or less. And the boys didn't have to do much of anything but manly things. These are the things I'm talking about. Um, they were taught, because I'm going to say their generations were taught that women were the only ones in the household who should be sewing, cooking, cleaning, and looking after the children. That was their belief. They were taught that men should be the only ones who go out for work to support the household. That's another one. That's kind of machismo to me, what we call in Spanish machismo, too much masculinity there. Um, where women, females like us, we were taught certain things, but the male children were not, which I have to state doesn't work today for sure, right? Because what if you're a male and you weren't taught these things? So do you cook? Do you know how to clean? Or you wait on a woman to do that for you? That's the whole point. It's beautiful if you're married, but not everyone is. So I'm thinking if you haven't taught your male child, that's not going to work, right? So these are things that didn't work and not going to work. I'm going to continue and hasn't worked, but it did back then. They were also taught that men should be the only ones who go out for work to support the household. You know, head of household. I understand. Men should be the head of household, but the only ones that go out to work, that worked back then, not today. Male children was also taught should be stronger than female children. Okay. They were taught if a male child shows emotions, they are weak because it makes them soft or too soft. Okay. Where did they get that? I don't know. So here they're not able to even have emotions. So we could go back and laugh at these situations or take it seriously today. If you're not a person of change, you probably think, yes, this is the way it should be. That's you, or you're from the old school days. That worked for you. That doesn't work for today's generation, for my generation, and future generations now. That's not working. They were taught that a female child should not show strength because it's too manly. Okay. So if you're too manly, I guess if you're strong, aggressive, or you stand up for yourself and you're a female, now you're too manly. You know, I remember those days that parents would talk about that. I remember hearing aunties and stuff talking about, oh, they're too manly and stuff like that. And I'm looking at them like, what does that mean? And another one is female children should not do jobs that are meant for males. That's another thing that they were taught as well. They were taught that females should not work outside the home, and if they did, it should not be in a position of masculinity. I'm sorry. Okay, in other words, they couldn't become policemen, they couldn't become firemen. There's some women that want to become that. What's the problem? They couldn't become who they wanted to become. And they were taught that males also should not take on feminine roles or jobs. Well, not roles, but jobs, which is if they wanted to be a nurse, they were laughed at. If they wanted to be a dancer, they were called soft. Things like that. And another one would be what they would taught parents openly state their favorite child, their favorite son or daughter. That's another thing in the past that a lot of family parents, mothers and fathers did. That was the norm back then. Oh, that's my favorite. Oh, you know why you're not my favorite? This is my favorite child. This is my favorite nephew. This is my favorite niece. Things like that. They were taught to favor the males over the females at some time, or even one child over another. So that is one of those lessons that that didn't go with us for this new time generation. It's not working here. Another one that they were taught is dating outside your race is forbidden. That's what they did back then. Some still believe that. They were taught they're going outside of their race to date. If going outside their race for dating or marrying anyone outside of the race, that's forbidden. They were taught friendships outside of their race is not welcomed. It's a lot of stuff where that wasn't actually opened and that was treated as taboo back then, which I believe today does not work for my generation and future generations. So not all the time we can fit in with past generations, and no one's talked about that. But this is why it just simply doesn't work. Another one is put family first. Family is everything. They were taught that family is blood and that blood is thicker than water. Okay, I was taught that part. They were taught no matter what, always take care of family, put family first. Okay, we all want to do that. That's true. Um, but does it work? And I'm going to explain why I believe that um, that most of these things I just mentioned doesn't work today. So what we should have been taught is what I'm going to talk about now. All right. First, we should have been taught to work smarter, not harder. We learned, remember, it was taught before, and now we have come to acknowledgement that we've learned from their teaching what they were taught that was incorrect teaching for us at this time frame. So to work smarter, not harder. We weren't taught that. We were taught to work hard and you shall get everything that you're looking for. Nope, you work smarter, not harder. Everyone's going to do it their diligence. Doesn't mean you have to do it more than anyone else. You just get it done right. You just do what you got to do. We learned how to work smarter, not harder. Everyone in the household works, male or female. It didn't matter back then. I mean, it doesn't matter today what race is working and what race isn't. So that's how that didn't work before, and how we had to find out that that was not what we should have been taught. We learned that the more who contributes to the household, the more we can accomplish as a household. Yes. So instead of just having the males go out and females stay home to do the household work and take care of children, we have learned now everyone can contribute to the household, and we can accomplish more that way. That's what we learned, and that is very important, because let's say you want to buy a house, a condo, or a co-op. Unless you're making six figures today, generally a male will be busting his behind doing overtime and everything, when there can be more than one individual in the household and doing the work together as a team. You know what I mean? We When you learn how to work, that's learning how to work smarter. Learning how to work smarter is contributing, everyone contributing um, to the household, not just one person. Yes, you still will be the head of household because you are the male. But where did we get that if the male isn't the head of household, he's nobody? Sometimes a male may not be able to work at a certain time or can't. Does that make him less of a man? No, but society says so, and they were taught that back then. It was also taught that our new standard of thinking is that male children should be taught to sew, clean, and cook, when they weren't taught this before. And mainly because I believe this is definitely needed, because who wants to wait on a female to cook for you? I mean, it could go both ways. We were taught, females, most of us, were taught to clean, cook, and sew. And male were told to go play ball or whatever it is, sports, and do the hard work, labor of the home. But if they were taught also to cook, clean, and sew, then they wouldn't need to be dependent on anyone. So if things didn't go right, you'd be able to take care of yourself, because sometimes things don't work out the way we want them to. And this is why you and everyone, there's no particular female or anyone other than you doing what you need to do. No one should be waiting on other people to teach them. They should learn this. If they were taught, they should teach their children. I taught my children, male or female, they're going to know to sew, cook, and clean. We learned that it's what you love to do that matters. So when if you like cleaning and cooking and sewing, it's what we learn to do that matters, not and something that's essential for your growth and for your survival. If you were living alone, let's say no, so not everyone's going to get married and have children. Wouldn't you want to know how to do this for yourself? I mean, if we're teaching our male children that that is the way to go, that it's not for you, that's a woman's job, that's a woman's task, then we're teaching them to be less than who they can be. It has no title over who could cook and clean. Today's society, we all cook, clean, males cook. There happen to be one of the best types of chefs are male cooks, right? So things have changed. We learned that teamwork makes the dream work. So everyone contributes. That's what's new now versus the old school generations that taught that just one person contributes and that's it, because that's the male and he is the head of the household. He will remain the head of the household as long as he stays there. um, it doesn't matter who contributes. Growth will allow you to know that once all everyone in the family contributes, even when your children grow big before they move out, whatever the case is, to get to your dream, to make it work, it's going to take more than one today. It's not going to be, unless you're super rich, upper middle class, and you're not working overtime to get there, then I can understand that. But otherwise, let's come down from the skies like I have in these pictures and get to reality. It takes more than one to build that household with the rents we have today. Are you kidding me? The prices of houses, the prices of condos, everything has gone up. If we want to attain anything in life today, it's going to take a team, male and female or whatever you prefer. I'm just speaking in the aspect of marriage households and those that are contributing together. It doesn't matter. It's two. You know what I mean? It's male and female, not just the male. The female can go out and still come in and take care of her children or the children. Like I said, we learned that the teamwork makes the dream work. That's our generation. They never talked about that before. We was also taught that female children can also be employed and take. We learned, I should say, from the mistakes of our parents' generations. So we learned that female children can also be employed and take care of the household, which we were just talking about. We learned that two incomes are better than one. We learned that women have multiple jobs today by working and still contributing to the children and household needs. So there, that is very important. That didn't happen back in the time when our parents were growing up. So what they were taught and what we learned from their teachings didn't work for us. It worked for them. We learned to be wise with how many children we have. Instead of that thought about the more children you have, the more honor of your family. No, that was your time. And this time, in order to be able to give them everything and to have a better future, you have to be wise with how many you have. And in order to give them a head start on education and other things in life, you have to be wise on how many you can afford to have. That's really important. And if you have one person in the household, as the generations from the past always talk about, you're going to be broke because you can't just keep having children and one household, one person in the household is working. So that didn't work for them, did it? And we learned from that. We learned that no, that's not the way we're going to do it. We understand today that that's not how it goes. Choosing to love all your children equally without favoritism, we learned that too, because back in those times they had their favorite picks. You see it on shows. Some families have been told, oh, you weren't my favorite, that one was, blah blah blah. But we learned that choosing one child over another causes resentment in the long run. So that wasn't good for us. We also learned that loving each of our children equally and unconditionally is love. And that's what love is. Not one specific child and not the other, or I love this one more than that one. No, that's not how it works. Even if you have 6 children equally, you should love each and every one of them. Also, at the same, I should say, no matter female or male, okay? They don't deserve to be picked and choose of which one and because of their sex and who they are in life, whether they're a female or a male. Another thing that we learned is choosing who you fall in love with without race factors being involved. We learned you can't choose who you fall in love with. So race doesn't matter. Not to us, not as much as it did back then. We learned that race is not going to be a factor in our future or in love. No one can pick and choose who they're going to fall in love with. I mean, that's crazy. Why were they taught this mess? I mean, who taught you this? But the good thing is that what we're listening to, what we've learned from our past um, parents' generations, we can take some of it with us and throw the rest away, right? But what we've learned is that it doesn't work with us. Yeah, things change and evolve all the time. This is why change is needed. I should have named this video "Change is Needed," but I didn't. So we, as I said, we learned that race is not going to be a factor in our future when it comes to choosing love. Because, like I said, love is love from the heart. We don't go around looking for a particular race. Sometimes we do, not me in general. Um, there are people that look for their own race, purity. I understand, but they realize, like I met someone the other day. We were talking, and they're from a particular country. I'm not going to say where, and they're looking for their type of woman from their country. And I'm saying, well, if they're so bad and you're talking about them like that, why don't you go outside of your race? I'm not saying whites or your culture or whatever. Change, make a change. I don't care what race it is. If it's not working for you, why are you stuck there? Now you're lonely, you look miserable. And the person gave me a baffled look, like, oh, I didn't think of that. That's because we were pressured, some of us growing up, that this is what is meant for you and that's what it is, and too bad, so sad. But that didn't work for us. Another thing that we was taught about families, blood is thicker than water. Family is not always for you. Sometimes blood is not thicker than water. Okay, not everyone has that beautiful family like that. We learned that some family aren't for you, and they're not always going to be for you. And we learned that sometimes friends can treat you better than family. And there you contribute to finding people that outside of your family that act more like your family. They contribute more than your family has. Those are soul tribe families. Those, what does it mean that I cannot have a soul tribe brother, sister, or family who is not my blood? Blood is nice to have, but not everyone's for you. Not everyone cares about you. Some of your family members hate you. I'm not saying everyone, I'm generalizing because I've seen this in the system. I've seen it a lot. Personal lives, I've seen so much of my experience with this type of thing that I can no longer hold back and say blood is thicker than water anymore. So we learned that too. It is not thicker than water because not all family is for you. It's just like friends. Not all your friends are for you. People aren't going to be for you. You got to pick and choose who they really are. And sometimes you'll have people that you've never met before that treat you a lot better than your own sister, brother, families, cousins, whatever the case may be, family. So what I mean by this is we can't pick or choose our families, which I said in my last video last week on the race epitudes, what's the attitude? That was last week. We can't pick and choose our families and what's right for our generation, but what we can do is pick and choose what does and does not work for us. Don't forget that. That's really important that we do that, because what works for us is going to push us forward, and what doesn't work for us, we can leave that and scrap it out. What they were taught, our parents' generation, was their time and not necessarily fits with our time frame. So don't forget that things they did does not always work and won't always work for us. We need to take what we learned from what they were taught and make it work for ourselves, our future, and the future generations who will also have to decipher, like we did, what works for them and leave the rest behind. And that's basically what needs to be done. We cannot take everything that has some, this stuff has failed us because we feel like we have to do what our past generations have done, and that's not true. Time frames, this is a time difference. This is why things are always changing, moving forward, moving upward, hopefully, and not backwards. But the point is to move forward, and with forward there's change. Change has to come. It's a part of the universe. It's just turns and turns and keeps going. And so, with that being said, that's why we can't stay stagnant on old generational beliefs and think it'll work for ours. Because, like I said, things change, everything changed, technology has changed. It's just a big change. So, once we embrace that change, we can actually fit in our own ide- 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 ideology and be able to recognize that that didn't work and this is what's going to work for you. But it's up to you to do that. I can't tell you what to do, but I'm doing that in my life. I am putting away what did not work, what my family was taught that doesn't work for me and my generation and future generations to come. And every generation is going to have to decipher what they take with them and what they leave behind. So with that being said, thank you for listening to me, Judge Desire for Knowledge. Every Saturday I'll be here for Know Your Truth Real Talk and on IAH Radio, broadcasting my talk radio time at the same time simultaneously. Um, and thank you again, IAAH Radio, DJ 5 a.m. Hello. Thank you to you and all the great DJs out there and the beautiful music you guys get that these DJs perform. And really go check them out. They have house music, reggae, R&B. People from Germany plays, Russia. It's beautiful. I'm not sure how many countries, but in the States, every state DJs, they got it all. So go check them out. They're pretty good. I'm glad that they give me this slot at 3 o'clock to be able to reach some people that may understand or it relates to them, I should say. Yeah. And with that being said, please like, share, and subscribe my videos. I'm going to link the other video that I was talking about where family believes they have the rights to be a part of most of the things that it's called Family Affair 1, Part 1, or it's just Family Affair, where family feels privileged or obliged, one of those titles, to what you have and what you've earned. That's a good one too. Um, and whenever I do these things, I do on relationships. It's about relationships. Family matters. It's going to be about family matters. It all comes together, but it links to one another in Know Your Truth Real Talk, which is the reason why I named that this show that Know Your Truth Real Talk with me, Judge Desire for Knowledge. I hope to see you on all social media. Come check me out. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on those social medias when you have the time. And watch my new upcoming I'm Out and About. I have two that's been behind. Let's see my gavel here. And come see the fun I've been having out and about. And my event coming up later. It's a real good one. I cannot tell you about it yet, but I will be recording and uploading it. So that one should not have any copyright music behind it. I can't say why. But with that being said, bringing you the truth and nothing but the truth on Know Your Truth Real Talk with me, Just Desire for Knowledge, is now adjourned. I will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there and make sure you listen to me on all social media. Watch my shows. Ciao.